Hello and welcome back to RailRoads Online. So today we are here picking up where we left off. We will be heading out to I think we're just going to head on out to the coal mine today and actually start getting in some track there. So we have the track out here to the smelter. We don't have the oil field or the oil refinery hooked up yet, but we can't really move a heck of a lot along until we get this coal starting to come in. Plus we're going to need some fuel for the locomotives, and if we're going to look at all of our options for locomotives or what we could do with some of the locos, we need coal to power them, just what it is. We still have quite a bit of coal in the one that we have, but if we're going to switch to anything else, we definitely are going to need some coal there. So might as well kind of get to work on that. I'm busy sitting here looking at the overall path and getting lost as to where I'm going. Alright, flying along here. Bam, target of the day. Looks good sitting up there on the shelf. Does kind of limit. I mean, you have tons of options of how you could do things in here. I don't know how often people do a heck of a lot of different things in here. Kind of depends on how you like to run things, I guess. But for the most part, we're going to keep things pretty simple up here. Not going to go too nuts. We still have yard work to put in at the main, but that, at the main depot there, that's always been kind of the goal with this one. We have a little bit of holding here and there where we need it. Which, this is not a horrible place to put in a little bit of holding, so we probably will have some. Could turn around and put a coal tower out here just to turn around and double all the coal out here if you wanted to make it easier to run. I think I have some other solutions to that we probably won't worry about it too much. So just going to turn around and keep things pretty chill, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, we really don't need a lot of holding up here at all. So how do we want to go? I think we'll actually do this. Just chuck that on the end. Yeah, why not? Because that gives us, well... Because if we went the other direction, yeah, let's go the other way with it. Now that we're looking at it, do that, and then we'll grab the stand on that side. Yeah, gonna be fine there. Go ahead and grab our favorite saw. It's great. Takes down trees in like next to no time at all. It's just not cutting down a lot at one time. We know we're gonna have to come somewhere way over here, and then we're gonna start turning in here, but where I don't know. So we'll just keep it like that. In fact, we'll get rid of that tree so we just get a nice kind of bare rock look here. I think we'll keep that one. That one I think we'll get rid of. So we just have a nice bare look. Bare rock look is what I'm looking for there. Alright, let's get rid of that one. And then we'll get rid of these two. Just because it's always a pain as you're going around this dock here. Although nowadays with the moving camera, not so bad, but still they just get in the line of view as you're looking back there. So kind of cleaning that up a little bit, making it look a little more lived in. This one seems like it's out of place. Yeah, alright, that works. Little bit of landscaping. Alright, let's go in and grab some rail. We'll just kind of head off. I think we'll do this in precise mode, just because then it's just where we want it rather than what it's thinking. We are going to run this relatively close to the rock. Alright, let's get into single picker mode there. And I think something like that. Cool. Then we're going to turn around and straighten this out. See if we can get a little bit of a straight rail in here before we got to start turning. If we can. Yeah, we should be able to. And do something like that. We don't need a lot. We just want to get it straight so we aren't slapping from one side to the other whenever possible. And then we'll start bringing this around. Don't have an exact number in here, so we're just gonna play with what we can get. Oh, that's actually gonna work out pretty good there. Let's get up, see if we can see. That's definitely not gonna make it all the way around the turn, so we're gonna have to go tighter than that. Let's see if we can pull off 40. Or if it's got to be tighter, and that's going to be too close to just tell. So we'll just run out the rail quick. Nice thing is, it's not hard if we got to pick it all up. $40 is looking good. Yeah, we are clear on a single. Something like that. It gets us around on groundwork 1. So 40, yeah, I mean 40 degrees or 40 meter, whatever that actually works out to. And then this one I think will probably just free hook up, unless we want to put any holding in here. That's the question. Do we put holding down here? Or do we not? I honestly, actually, you know what? With the overall plan of the railroad, we don't need to do that. It would be out there. It's optional. If a person wanted to put it in, it would be easy enough to do that. We're not going to worry about it today, because we have other plans for the railroad, or for usage anyway. So cleaning this all up, we're going to clean these out of here. Just for the view, to be honest. Obviously we do not need the trees out here to be removed, not in the way, but they are for our view. So that's going to be a little bit of a slide off the mountain there. Get rid of those, get rid of those. Yeah, that's going to give us a cool view, at least looking back and down on things, for sure. Nice overlook, gotta give it to it. Pine Valley, always enjoy the views, no matter what. Even though I'd love to see somewhat of a mix of like different trees, the trees, obviously the pine trees from later maps are kind of a lot nicer to look at, I guess, than these ones. Not that these are horrible or anything, not saying that, but they would be cool to have on here. You still get great views in Pine Valley, for sure. We are just gonna blow these out a little bit. That way we don't get driven nuts by every tree in our camera as we go through here. I know I've had people say there's like 300,000 trees on this map or something like that. I don't have any idea if that's an accurate statement or not, but that's what I've heard. A lot of trees. But as I've said before and will say again, these things, at least the nice thing with the trees on Pine Valley is they all stand up. You don't have little ninja anythings on this map, and that is one really nice thing, that makes this map friendly, is you don't have to look for every little, on later maps you'd have to cut these flowers out or you'd be derailing. So that's a thing too. Does make this map nice. Suppose we should be changing the time at some point here. We are kind of in this afternoon lighting. Whoops, actually we did want to take off. That's fine. Cool. Rock on. Grab some rail. See, the debate is like, you know, should you put... So we definitely have room to put holding in here, but we don't honestly need it. So it's like, you do it even though you don't need it. Wait a minute. Let's do something. Now the question is, do we do the something on that side or do we do the something on that side? Let's go ahead and try to put a little something in the opening there. So we'll run this. We don't want to interfere with running down the hill. It's gonna start somewhere in here. So we have until there. Can't say how much nicer it is being able to actually get up in the air. But then too, this wants to go down. How far does this want to go down? Because we don't want to lose a lot of, okay, having a switch in here isn't going to be too bad. So we'll do something like this. Oops, what are we doing? We'll do that, then we'll grab, I think we'll do like that. Oop. We'll grab that side, click that on there. Get rid of some of these. See if we can throw a little something in here. That'll go away. We'll get rid of that just for looks. Probably that too. And then get rid of a bunch here where we can see the switch. One thing, you know, you don't need to now with the remote switches because you can always switch switches on the map. So makes it easier, but you know, if you're gonna play it where you're looking at the switches, always nice to have some open area there around them for sure. Here we'll take the switch on that side. There we go. What we're looking for. And I guess we'll go ahead and put in two. No, that's not what we want. Oops. We want that, and we want it on that side again. So we'll put in a couple of extra rails here, and then we'll throw some water and some stockpile, I guess, on some in case we ever bring a wood burning loco out here. So we'll have a little bit of wood storage as well. Run that to there. You never know when you want to throw some cars out here just to have them out here. So we'll go ahead and go with that. And I guess we'll throw these on the end there. Hopefully we are clear. Looking good. Yeah, looking good. Decent enough. Now, do we want to go? Ooh. I think we'll just go with. No, you did it again. Do not push those. Alright. I was debating whether I wanted to try to put wall in here or not. But I don't think so, because I think in this case it's not going to give us the look that we want. This should be a little rough, not high use, not main yard stuff. Shouldn't be finished up, at least in my head here for this. It's kind of an outpost, you know. Alright, we'll throw those in. And I think we'll come get rid of that one for sure. That one will keep. We don't, well, we'll just land. Even though I'm going to jump right back up in the air, because do that 100,000 times. Alright, that will give us the edge the way we want it. And And then I think we will put, how much are we going to get on there? Wood and water at least? Wood and water. Yeah, we'll get wood and water on there anyway. Water. Wonder, maybe we should just go with the big tower out here. Of course, that's kind of like a main yard tower. At least in my head, I guess, you know, you got varying uses for everything in your own head, whatever you think. So maybe this would be cool because it's way out here, and if they had to have water out here, maybe they would just have a big, huge tank, but then, yeah, I don't know, would you with it? Would you? It just looks too big. Not gonna do that. Everybody's got their own variation of what they think it should look like. I'm gonna go with this one. We'll put a pretty one in the big main yard when we get around to that. Alright, let's try to get you squared up. It would be so much nicer if these just squared themselves actually up. Okay, and actually let's put, you're gonna be pulling the loco forward in here probably. You're not gonna be backing it in here so you'd get water on. Let's just do that. Then it's kind of opposite of the mine like that. Yeah, why not? And then we'll go in and we'll grab wood. Do we want wood facility like we gotta fill? We don't really want to have to come out here and fill it. That's not really what we're looking to do. So we'll throw this on the end here. These are not going to click to the rail, so we're just going to have to line that however we want it. Whether we want it that direction or this direction, probably this direction. Yeah, it'll just take up less space. Alright, so let's square it up on the rail. Either way, I think we're slightly crooked, but that should be good enough. So we'll drop that in there. And then I suppose we're out here in the mountains, so let's turn around and go ahead and throw in a sand house just for fun. We'll throw it in, yeah, with the groundwork. This will be kind of on the end. Although you have to be able to get the sand into the locomotive, so we'll stick it here. If you had to get all the way to the sand, maybe it's been in the butt. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe on this side, actually. Would make more sense. Would that make more sense? Probably make it easier to get in the loco if you're actually going to do it. Not that we turn around and do, you know what? You don't really use it, and what we want is just a little hut here on the end of the rail anyway. So this isn't really for function so much as it is for just what it looks like. So, hey, why are you being that picky? We will try to keep it down this way though, so we can actually use it. I mean, you still be able to use it. Yeah. Cool. That gives it a little bit of a look. Not too bad. Should probably have like a wheelbarrow or something down here on the end. Got props galore. That's the thing, you know. You can start propping. I know, you know, people ask me, how come I don't put up props all day? Because everybody wants to decorate in their own way, to be honest. And I could probably spend 6 days out here decorating stuff, and it's probably not super exciting to a lot of people. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Cart. We want some sort of cart out here that says we're moving around some stuff. And probably don't want it backwards. Yada. What do we want it here? No. We're just gonna throw it on the end. Let's be honest, just for looks. This is obviously not gonna function or do much, so we're just gonna put it out there. Just so that it's in there. finishing off a little bit of something. Not a lot, but a little something. Nowadays we do have the animals and stuff, which is kind of cool. I mean, we can turn around and go in and throw. We'd have to go find them somewhere. La, 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 la. Way down yonder. Cool. We got mule deer. We got bisons, cougar, bears, eagles. Yeah, right. Should probably. Can we get? Where's a good spot for you to sit, bro? All right, let me get where I can see you. Right, rock on. All right, so there's a decent addition. Never gonna see him up there for the most part. Well, we know he's there. That's the point. Did it just snap on? Was that a thing? Or is that just in my head? Oh, okay. Just kind of depends on, I suppose, when it sees a surface it can stick to. Maybe? I don't know. That's cool. Alright, we got our little eagle up there. He's chilling. We're not going to throw tons of them around just to go nuts or nothing like that. We're not going to do that. But there we go. We got a little bit of decor going on. I suppose we could put some more stuff along the way as we go down here, but that's getting a little something. Okay, and then here, bam, grab this one. We're gonna run this out. Now here we are gonna start hugging the ground, so we are gonna take this out of precise mode and just let this kind of start. As this starts to sink here ever so slightly, and we're gonna want to just kind of go with it, so we don't lose any ground to it. That should be good. Let us grab a nice curve coming out. You should see this is not going to be perfectly flat now anymore. Yeah, down a little bit. Not a heck of a lot, but it does start to go down a little bit. And we probably could have driven it down even lower manually, but try to keep some sort of consistency with the groundwork at this point. So we'll clear out some of this here. This we're gonna now need to clear out a bunch. Actually, kick this back at least one more line, I think. If we take those out, we definitely have to put something else in here. Would be kind of nice to have some sort of building in here. The thing, some of the buildings, I gotta be honest, aren't really my favorite. They're obviously not built to the game, so they're kind of like, it would have been cooler if we'd have got some of the buildings that are like, quite frankly, with the industries already. Some of them were built to the game, other ones of them were pack plugs. So there's that. That's why they don't necessarily have that same feel, or whatever. They're cool if you're trying to build a town. I'm not saying they don't fit. It just would have been nice to have like some little, like just hut buildings that are like, the ones out at the sawmill, stuff like that. We don't have any just like single story building bases that we can do stuff with. I know I'm not the only person that thinks that, but so I don't know. Maybe we'll come up with something for. Or we could just put some, I suppose we could put like an animal or two out here, and that would, that would turn around and maybe fill the space with something. Like if we had a couple of the deer or something. That's a thing, Definitely have rocks and trees so we could fill it with other things too. Yeah, I don't think you really ever heard a buffalo up here or anything. I suppose you could always have a bear, but like a mule deer or two in here wouldn't be. Maybe that would kind of fill up the space. Give it a little something to do. They're out here eating. Maybe there's deer trying to eat some food here or something. Different kind of deer. Or different poses. Sorry. It's more what I'm looking for than different kind of deer. You do get the different poses, which they change randomly. I know not everybody has the animals, but you turn around and they do change randomly on your load in, so you can't really sit and try to pick them for the position that they're standing or that they're in per se, because sometimes they're going to be standing or laying down or whatever. You just kind of have to. You will get a randomly generated thing there. All right, that's a little bit. Yeah, that gives a little something there in the distance. I guess I like that. Should probably now have maybe a mountain lion up here. Looking, I mean, that'd be a great space for one, right? If we come in, we'll get rid of this. This is what I mean with the decor once you start, you know? Okay, so we'll get rid of that, and we'll come in here. And bam, 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 back down. We get our. We want to go with a mountain lion or a bear. We should probably go with a mountain lion up here on the ledge. All right, that's cool. So then whether he's sitting or standing, there we go. Alright, so now you got them out. There we go. A moment of nature. Caught in RailRoads Online. So there you go. Little mountain lion off in the distance looking over its lunch, you know? Just a thing. So that decorates the landing a little bit. We obviously can do plenty more with things. But a little bit of something thrown in there, and then we will kind of start this on its way down the hill. So, you know, there it just absolutely sunk. See, so you gotta check that. But I think honestly at this point we're gonna kick it in to precise mode, because we're gonna want to control now most aspects of the track. I think we'll go up there. We'll bring that into singles now. Try to keep this, I think, right there. And then we're going to want to sync it, because then we can go down to 3%, I feel like. Even if it is only for just a touch. Something like this, so that we can start coming back the other direction. So like we'll clear out a few more trees, make a little bit of progress here. We're gonna get rid of that so we have good looks. Again, this map we have not worried about cutting down trees, so we're gonna clear cut whatever, with the idea that we can always come in and replace trees if we feel like we really messed something up. We can come in and put in a few trees nowadays, so not gonna be too shy about cutting back trees. These we probably don't need to get rid of. They're pretty close to the edge, or to the mountain, hill, rocks, cliff, whatever you wanna, however you wanna go with it. It's kind of there. And there we go. Not getting in too much train running obviously on this video. More of a build. Again, I know not for everybody all the time. Try to accommodate some running, but obviously as you're setting up railroads, you do a lot of building versus how much running. So just, you know, try to mix it in there where it's not all the same all the time. Nice thing here, these shelves or the ledges, when you're running on these or building on these, I've always liked it. You know, you just kind of know this is your path. Great. The grass and the plant, everything just looks good. If you give it that, just looks, yeah, it looks like, you know, lumberjacking and railroad country company. Lumberjacking and railroad company. It is about what it is. Alright, I guess we are going to run this At least let's just clear trees down to the horseshoe curve, because we certainly know we are going to put this one through the horseshoe. We'll do some stuff different when we get down, but for me, there's the nice way down on the shelves here on what's kind of a dev path, and I tend to like that. Otherwise, there's kind of like you could split, you could go up and over the mountain here, but I don't think we're going to do the up and over the mountain deal. Like I said, I just kind of want to avoid the Polar Express feel on this one, and I feel like for me that run always gets out to be Polar Express like. Though I guess I could try to do a non-grade restricted one in that way, but it doesn't really do you a lot of good to having too crazy punch up over that hill. I don't know. I think we're just going to take it the chill way. This is going to be the one longer run on the railroad. Yeah, we're just going to get rid of you because you're out of place. That you can stay. What's that? I don't know what that was. Maybe that was just where the saw. Yeah, okay. So the saw is just sticking kind of in the ground as we go by. Good, good, good. You're going to go away, I think, just for looks. Yeah, same with you. You kind of don't let it look the way we want it to look. I think we'll do the same with you. And probably you. Okay, train coming through here. That one should go, so that looks a little better. I think that one should go. And we might as well get rid of that one as well. There, gonna open that up, give us a decent view at things. That one, open up the turn. Cool, those can stay. We'll see what happens with the way that we come around that turn. Take care of that. I think that one will go. Great view again right there. Can't complain. Alright, so how does this work? Boy, you do see. There he is. Mountain lion country. That's kind of cool. Who would have thought the days that we would have animals? I mean, we got a lot of animals, a lot of props. They have to say, never saw it coming. That's pretty cool. Oh, we have a cougar. That's not his most favorable lighting. And the grass obviously is going through him, so there's that. But other than that, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so I mean, I think for the most part, we're going to kind of try to keep it a little shorter today. I know the long build videos get nuts, but we have quite a haul, to be honest, to take the rail out that way, so I think we'll try to do it in chunks rather than just nailing it all out at one time. But you know, that's kind of our nice keep it simple in here landing. We obviously have fuel and water and sand. We have more supply than we actually need. We're gonna have to bring beams out here and rails, a little bit of wildlife introduced. It's too bad these don't go necessarily buck doe, or we don't have control of that. I don't know, but you know, whatever. We got a few of these guys better get out of here because they're about to get eaten. But with that, I think we're gonna call it a win. Say thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you get a chance, like, share, subscribe. Subscriptions are free, but they sure do help the channel. Y'all have a great day.